Yeah, hi guys. Mindless together with Major Awesome here. So we are in the room of Mindless. So what's happened is that we quickly put together an ACBA display. So yeah, maybe Mindless want to talk about the display.
Yeah, this display is actually based on Return of the King.
Yeah, I believe that's the title. It's a novel that I read a while back. So I believe, if I remember correctly, the Kingpin went into retirement, and then he fell in love with some Asian chick, and then she was assassinated by hand ninjas.
And this is supposed to be before the Shadowland, so...
Yeah, it's quite a cool, interesting prelude to Shadowland. You've read Shadowland, right? I haven't read it.
Yeah, I've read Shadowland. Well, it has a really cool beginning, but the ending was pretty disappointing, so...
Yeah, but I think what I really like about Shadowland, even though I haven't read it, is the suit. I think it's something very different because, you're so used to seeing Daredevil with his trademark red suit, and then he's wearing this really badass black suit.
Yeah, that's really cool actually, and I've always been a fan of all these street level superheroes, so
So I think between okay, how about the movie? I mean, it's very common. Like, a lot of the guys in the community, when you talk about the Daredevil movie, they really hate it.
Oh, I feel it wasn't that bad, to be honest. I mean, I think the guy did some pretty good acting. But
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
But I wish Kingpin was played by a different actor.
Okay, and what about the Michael Duncan? Don't you like about?
He doesn't seem like to have this mafia personality.
Okay.
Which I feel Kingpin should have.
But I think in a way it was kind of interesting because typically, as you have here, you have the white Kingpin. So I thought it was quite unique that they kind of did a twist, kind of like the Nick Fury thing. They have the white Nick Fury and the African American Fury. So in a way, I think it was quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but yeah, for myself also, I'm quite a fan of Daredevil because I think Daredevil is very interesting because he's blind. I think that's already something that's quite unique because you have a lot of superheroes who are normal human beings, but they are somehow given supernatural powers or some sort of superhuman powers. And then here you have a guy who is blind but he can sense things, and he relies on his kung fu, his street fighting skills. So I think that's quite cool.
It's like you're given some powers, but in return you have to lose something, right?
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting in that sense. Yeah, so I guess enough of the displays. This is something that we put together quickly for this segment. So I think moving on, we probably talk about the Mato 100 subs contest.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I think officially, the entry, the deadline has passed for about 2 weeks. So we finally got together after a while. We have been having troubles getting organized to sit down and talk about the contest.
Yeah, but we actually have been watching the video a lot, and we have discussed about it through the phone and message, and
Yeah. So officially there are 2 entries from BDO and the Demon from Australia. So maybe you just talk about your feelings. Generally about the 5 categories, and then what is your feel about the 2 entries?
Alright, my feel about the 2 entries. Firstly, I think that the D-Man has a better posing overall, and I'd like to consider myself one of the old school guy who prefer pose over backdrops and all that. So yeah, posing definitely goes to the D-Man. But BD, he has a very interesting display overall. He has storylines and he has interesting props.
Yeah.
So both of them has their pros and cons. So.
Yeah. I think for myself, I agree with your points. I think generally, you know, if you look at the entire both entries holistically, like you look at BD's entry, you look at it, you watch it a few times, it's very clear, you know, even from the very first viewing, you know that it tells a story of the Catman in the middle of a crime spree. And it's very obvious because of the bat signal.
Oh yeah, by the way, I really love that bat signal.
Yeah, so it's very obvious that he's in Gotham, right?
Yeah.
Like he's scaling a building. Whereas, you know, if you look at the demon's entry, yes, I really love the posing. You know, it's very obvious that the Owlman, right? That's the name of the character.
That's the Owlman.
So it's very obvious that the Owlman has betrayed the rest of the crime syndicate.
Yes.
But having said that, if you compare the two videos, I have no idea where the crime syndicate characters are. Because the backdrop is very plain. They could be anywhere. They can be in the open. They can be in a room somewhere. It's not very clear in that sense. So I think that's why in that way I kind of like prefer BD's entry purely from the backdrop and the storytelling angle. Yeah, but I think, you know, generally if you ask me, I would say it's a tie.
Yeah, I would agree with you,
Yeah.
because both of them have their positive and negative points.
Correct, correct. I mean, I wouldn't really say that there are any bad points, but of course, no display is perfect.
Yes.
There are areas that can be improved on. So I think generally, I think for BD's one is that the pose is quite static. I think he's limited in the sense that he's trying to depict Catman climbing some building. So the pose is not that dynamic. Whereas the Damon's one is very dynamic. It's like they have you have like the character frozen. You have a character being
and the Flash running. Is he called the Flash, by the way?
I don't think so. I can't actually. To be honest, both of them get points for obscurity.
Yeah.
Because Catman, myself, I've seen him in the comic, but only once. It was in the Secret 6 storyline with Bane and Deadshot and Ragdoll and some other characters. Whereas the Crime Syndicate, I've never seen them at all. But I think
it was in they were in the movie.
Yeah, you watched some animated movie,
yes.
Right? Yeah, so I mean, on that level, both of them, I think they are also pretty much on par. Yeah, on par in terms of obscurity. So that's why we can't even figure out some of the characters' names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly not familiar with all these crime syndicate characters. So
yeah. So I mean, I think officially we will consider it a tie, right?
Yeah.
So moving on, I think probably we want to do like, I think we've been wanting to do like a Q&A session, right?
Yeah.
Just a very informal one.
Yeah.
So I think generally I think people like to ask questions like you know, when do you start collecting? Yeah. So maybe you Mindless, you want to share first?
Yeah, sure. I've been collecting for like what now? 1.5 years, I guess. And I started collecting Spider-Man figures only, but you know, as you collect, you want to buy more figures and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up buying a lot of figures actually. and recently I'm really into Batman, so you know, my Batman figures collection has been expanding.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, you know, how Mindless and myself met was prior to the ACBA page. He used to buy figures from me. I think the first figure, I'm trying to remember, what was the first figure you bought from me?
It was Dr. Octopus, Marvel Legends.
And then subsequently it was the X-Men Storm, right?
Yes.
I remember the X-Men Storm as well.
And the funny thing is, we actually live near each other, but we
never met each other in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and we actually arranged a meeting like in a far away area.
China Square.
Yes.
It's a common place for collectors in Singapore to hang out. Yeah, so myself, I started seriously collecting from December 2009. Yeah, so initially I was kind of like also a bit ad hoc. I was more of a DC collector, but I did buy some Marvel stuff. So like bits and pieces here. Like I remember my first Marvel purchase was, I think, the 2-pack, the Fantastic Four 2-pack with the Thing and Mr. Fantastic.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, that was either my first purchase or it was the Marvel Select Daredevil, the one with this cross prop. So it's a bit hazy, you know. It's almost 3 years, but somehow I think it was either the 2-pack or the Marvel Select Daredevil that was my first Marvel purchase. I think for DC, wow, it's like such a long time ago. I can't remember what was the DC. Okay, I remember the first DC UC figure ever that I bought was the Hal Jordan, the Wave 3 Hal Jordan that came with the Solomon Grundy leg.
Okay.
Yeah, and those were the days, right? I think the Hal Jordan cost like 25 Sing.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, now it's like $10 more. It's like 35 easily. Yeah, so it's like I think that's a common problem now. You know, the figures keep getting more and more expensive. Yeah. So okay, moving on. Let's talk about ACBA. Okay, the funny story here. I remember watching your entry for the World Championship, the one where you did a Venom display.
Oh, okay.
And at that time I was thinking, wow, this guy is so awesome. It's like that display was what really got me really into ACBA. And the funny thing was I never even realized it was you. Yeah, I think this is probably the first time I'm sharing with you. The very first video that really got me really into ACBA was the entry you did for the championship.
Oh, okay. So, that entry was, you know, I was reading the comics and, you know, hey, why not do this, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I figured out Deadpool would be a funny characters to be reading
to
the comics.
Like be a Calafan in the video. So that's a funny thing, you know, after watching that video, initially I was never really a Venom fan. And then I watched your video and it's like, wow, I really like Venom now. So I actually went out and got the Venom figure.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, a lot of times like, I watch your videos, I watch books, videos, and I end up having to go and get a figure. So I think in a way it's ACBA is interesting because firstly it's about the posing, but also it's about, I think for me it's really about storytelling. Because I mean fight scenes is like, to me it's very cliche. It's easy to do fight scenes. You just have a villain or you have villain versus villain, just like AJ's contest. But I think for me it's very important to be able to kind of convey a story. So sometimes it can be something that, for your case, you're again back to the Venom video. You're like telling a story about how Mac Gargan evolved. So you know, initially he's like the Scorpion, and then you know you involve J.J. Jameson.
Yes.
And it's like kind of like that's how he started with the villain business, and then later on he becomes Venom. So to me that was like really the definitive display, because it really tells a history. You know, even though I do not know the Mac Gargan character very well, but looking at your display I realized, oh yeah, I didn't even realize he was Scorpion, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think it was that's kind of like what got me so interested in the video.
Yeah, but I really prefer a McGargan Venom than the current Venom actually, because I believe Venom is supposed to be monstrous, you know, man-eating. Yeah, rather than...
if you actually read the new Venom storyline, right? I had the opportunity because I went to the library and they had the new Flash Thompson Venom, and then when you read the story, then you can appreciate it's kind of like a different aspect of Venom.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, we have Bruce Wayne Batman and Dick Grayson Batman.
Yeah. And then subsequently later you have even like the Damian Wayne Batman is just a different aspect of the Batman. So I think it's still interesting in that sense. Yeah, sometimes it's nice to have like different personalities take on a particular character or the persona, like the Batman or whoever. So I think it's interesting also.
Yeah. But I believe the most interesting characters so far that take on another guy's mantle. I think is the what's his name?
Which one?
Asbat. What's his name? I can't remember.
Oh, they are actually
All Valley or something like that, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I can't really remember his name. He's also the Arkham Ezreal.
Ezreal, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
the guy with the English cross thing,
Yes.
the suit, yeah. Paul D. Valley or something, I can't remember. Yeah. So, but I think, I mean now maybe talking suit wise, I think in terms of Ezreal, I think I still like the original Ezreal the best with the hooded maroon suit thingy.
Oh, as compared to?
As compared to the current the S-Bat or the Arkham Ezreal. Somehow, I mean, that's why I talking about aesthetic, like the suit and the character. I think for me the original Ezreal is still my favorite.
Oh,
like
okay.
with his flaming gauntlets and that kind of stuff.
It's the one from
the DC superheroes line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the current one is a bit too religious. Yeah, if you actually read the story, right, he's like he is kind of like he sees himself as the God's vengeance. So to me, it's like a bit. I mean, I have nothing against like religion, but I think it's a bit over the top. Yeah. So it kind of like deviates away from like the Batman storyline. It becomes a bit too much like another vigilante kind of thing. So I think having just one vigilante is enough. I think having multiple vigilantes running around, it gets a bit messy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think it's a pity. I mean, I think a lot of the, maybe moving on, let's talk about the DC superheroes line of toys. I think you have some of them, right? Like you have the Scarecrow.
Yeah, I actually bought the Scarecrow from him. So.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think if you look at the various like DC lines, right? I think the DC superheroes lines is one of the best ones I've ever seen in terms of bad villains.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
aside from the Bane, which has the horrible like crooked legs,
yeah.
I think most of them are quite nice. Like you have the Two-Face with the Tommy gun. I think for me that's the definitive Two-Face.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, and you have like the Catwoman from that line is quite good as well.
Oh and yeah, that one goes for big money, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to get that figure but never had a chance. So I think so far I only have the Jim Lee style Catwoman from
Hush, right?
Yeah, the direct line. Which is quite limited because Catwoman is supposed to be very agile,
okay.
So there's not much you can do with that figure. Then kind of digressing, I mean backtracking, I also have the Ezreal from that line, and I think it's one of the best Ezreal ever.
Oh, it's the one with the white.
No, it's the maroon one.
Oh, okay,
the maroon with the hood and the huge gauntlets. Yeah, so that's a very nice one. So yeah, so maybe just a generic question, like what's your favorite Marvel Legends figure and what's your favorite DCUC figure?
Wow, my favorite Marvel Legends will probably be I don't know, Face of Cap perhaps.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's kind of small. So.
Oh really? Compared with the current, like if you compare with US Agent, US Agent is a very small figure, right?
Yeah, but that Cap, I wish he had more articulation at the head because he can't look up.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
And then how about DCUC? I mean, though you don't really focus a lot of DCUC, but what would be your favorite DCUC figure? I mean, based on what you currently have.
It's probably Kilowog.
Kilowog,
yeah,
okay.
Because Kilowog is he has good size and he has good sculpt. Although the paint job is not really very awesome.
Yeah, it's quite a simple scheme but I think that's typically what the lantern looks like. So but I really like the face sculpt though. Yeah, it's really
I
nice,
think
very
they-
detailed.
Yeah, they
Especially including like the the shoulder area is
Yeah.
kind of wrinkled,
Yeah.
which is very unique because if you look generally at the DCUC figures, right, I think DCUC figures lack in detailing.
yeah,
But if you look at Kilowog, especially the shoulder area is very detailed, so which is quite unique. Even amongst like the CNCs, most of them are quite plain.
oh, okay.
Yeah, with the exception of maybe like figures like Metallo,
Hmm.
because
Metallo needs a lot of
correct,
a lot of details.
But having said that, Metallo is kind of like a very flimsy character. So that's the thing about Metallo that I don't really like. I mean, he's detailed. He looks really like what he should in the comics, but it's just that he's very very flimsy. He's not like a sturdy character.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, whereas in the comics he's this bulky mechanical villain, but the actual CNC is a bit disappointing because he's like so skinny, especially around the torso area.
Yeah, I've never got my hand on a Metallo before,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you can come my house and check it
yeah,
out.
I should.
Yeah, so okay, you mentioned Kilowog, so obviously he's your favorite CNC.
Yeah.
How about a non-CNC DCUC figure? What would be your favorite?
I don't have a lot of DCUC, but in my collection, I think the favorite figure will be Asriel, I think.
Asriel, okay. Asriel.
Yeah.
You mean the DC superheroes one? No.
Oh yeah, that's from DC Superheroes. That will be Asbeth, I think.
Asbat, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
because Asbeth has nice paint job and nice sculpting. So
Yeah, especially the fins and everything,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, cool. Then how about Marvel Legends? You mentioned which is the figure again? You mentioned your favorite Marvel Legends, Face Off Cap, right?
Yeah.
How about the favorite Beth?
Favorite Beth would be I don't know, Arnim Zola, I guess.
Arnim Zola, but he's a bit small, right?
Yes, he's small, but I believe he's an obscure character, so we don't get too many of them. Like, for example, we get a lot of Galactus. We have two Galactus, one from the
Toy Biz,
Yeah.
and then you have the Hasbro one, yeah. And then the same with the Sentinel, you have two versions now.
yes.
Understand.
Of course, there are others awesome Beths out there. For example, the Giant Man.
Giant Man, yeah.
Yeah, but it goes for crazy money.
Yeah. So I think for myself, right, my favorite Beth would be Fin Fang Foom.
Oh, that's
Because
a
it's
good one.
It's really, really very detailed. I mean, at first, you've seen pictures of it, and then you're like, it's just a green dragon. But when you actually get it, wow, I can tell you the details on the Fin Fang Foom is really very amazing. I think my favorite CNC would have to be, I think it's kind of a tie for me. I think for the CNC, I kind of like Camo. But Camo, the only problem with Camo is that he seriously lacks in articulation, because he's kind of like this body of chemicals. So I think it's quite limited what they can do with the body. Then on the other hand, the joint favorite for me is Metallo. But as I mentioned, because his body is a bit too thin in certain areas and he's not that easy to pose. But then, I mean, generally in terms of the sculpt, the look and whatnot, they are my equal favorites. Maybe because I don't own Giganta. I think Giganta will be another very cool CNC to own. Yeah. So and then talking about non-CNCs and non-BAFs, I think for DCUC, it's kind of tough because I like a lot of characters.
Yeah, I know you're a DC
so for
guy,
me it's
right?
like wow. I started collecting mainly DC. So to be honest, it's kind of tough for me to choose a favorite character or figure for me. Marvel Legends, I think it will be Deadpool.
Deadpool, the new
Yeah.
one.
I think if I have a chance, right? I mean, I'm talking about overall, not something that I currently own. I think kind of like the red and black Deadpool. I don't own it yet, but I would like to own it.
I thought you have one mint on card.
Yeah, I have one mint on card, but I think for posing purposes, I think it's a very fun figure to have. You know, kind of like the throne display I did.
Yeah.
It's just some, you know, I think Deadpool is a very dynamic character, flexible character because of his persona. You know, you can put him in any display and it kind of works.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think purely from a display perspective, I think for Marvel Legends, my favorite character would be Deadpool. But having said that, geez, there's like tons of figures I kind of like. Even I kind of like the Hasbro Doctor Doom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel that's the best Doctor Doom, to be honest.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Even compared with the Toy Biz Doom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of tough. I think if you talk about like a more serious character, I think I kind of like the Hasbro Doctor Doom. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for my favorites. So how about storylines? I mean, for Marvel and DC, any particular storyline that you enjoy or you consider your favorite?
From Marvel, it's kind of tough actually because I read Marvel all the times, but it probably will be the Dark Avengers.
Dark Avengers, okay.
Because in that storyline we have different characters like putting on the shoes of all these Avengers, and I think Norman Osborn is actually doing a pretty good job up until the prior to Siege and all that. So yeah, I thought it was a good series.
Then how about DC? What is your favorite DC storyline?
I haven't really been reading DC. I mean,
I'll recommend you a few.
that's a good idea. But really, I feel the New 52 is a really good, good series.
Okay, I think for myself, right, I can't really pinpoint one specific, but I do have a few. So I think talking about DC, I like the Kingdom Come storyline.
Batman? That's Batman, right?
No, Kingdom Come is kind of like a futuristic where they have different members of the Justice League and their offspring.
Ah, okay.
So it's like you have an older Superman, you have an older Alan Scott, you have an older Bruce Wayne. So it's very interesting because it's in the future. Yeah, I think you should just go to the library and check it out. It's a good story. Kingdom Come. The figures from that storyline, very good. You should have, if you have a chance, you should check them out. I think another story I kind of like is Superman, Red Sun Superman. So it's this alternate storyline where instead of Superman landing in Kansas as a baby, he landed in Russia. So the role is kind of reversed. He becomes
the Red
Sun Superman. Yeah, that's a very good storyline. Also, you should check it out. So I think amongst all the DC storylines, I think easily these are my two favorite storylines. For Marvel, I kind of like the Secret Invasion.
Oh, the Skrulls.
The Skrulls, and I also like the new Thunderbolts, the one with Luke Cage as their leader. So I think it's because in a way, firstly I think they don't feature Luke Cage enough. So I think it was interesting where Luke Cage leads a team of criminals to do missions, and you have characters like Ghost. You know me, I like Ghost a lot because kind of like he's a character that I can relate to because he's into like computer hacking and stuff. So yeah, I think definitely. That brings me to a next topic. What figures would you like to be made that hasn't been made yet?
That hasn't been made yet.
Yeah. So for example, either DC or and Marvel, which characters that have never been made, then you wish that they'll be made?
I definitely want a Luke Cage from Hasbro.
The modern one.
Yeah, the modern
Yeah, that's
one.
the one I'm looking forward to as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a lot involved in a lot of storylines nowadays. So yeah, we need a Luke Cage.
Correct.
And we probably need a modern Doctor Strange as well.
You were just talking about that
Yeah.
earlier.
I'm not a big fan of Jean Grey, so I'm not really looking forward to that figure. But we know that Hasbro is going to release Jean Grey.
Yeah. It's a pity because they have so many characters that they have never made, but somehow for the return of Marvel Legends, they are redoing a lot of figures.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I have questions about Hasbro's reasoning and all that, Mattel can give us a lot of characters, obscure characters, and I mean Marvel Legends I believe is supposed to be superior figures to DCUC because
of the articulation and the detailing and but it's just lacking in terms of the new characters that they are producing.
Yes.
Yeah. So how about DCUC? Any particular character that you yourself you are aware of and that's never been made and you would like to buy one if it ever came out?
We probably need a new Scarecrow because the DC Superheroes one is kind of too thin, I feel. Yeah. So that's about it.
I think for myself, as mentioned earlier, what triggered this question was I definitely want a Marvel Ghost figure. That's definitely something I want. Luke Cage, I agree with you, something that I would need as well, because actually I'm kind of interested in building a Luke Cage Thunderbolts team. I think something related to that, they probably need the modern Baron Zemo. They have the father.
Yes.
But they are lacking in the modern Zemo. I think the modern Zemo has quite a nice look, a nice suit. They should do a modern Zemo as well.
Yeah.
And then on the DCUC side, I think this is something we discussed off camera. So I'm kind of looking forward to the new figures that they're going to be released, like guys like Phantom Stranger, Uncle Sam, so and so forth. Guys, you
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. The Dark Knight Returns Batman.
The Batman, the chunky one.
Yes.
Yeah. So
AKA Fat Man.
Fat Man. Yeah. That's a good code name, Fat Man. Yeah. So, they probably should do like a DCUC Damian Wayne as well.
Oh, that's very true actually.
And then Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
Even though I would say I commend Mattel for their effort. You can see that they are trying to produce a lot of very obscure characters. I think as you mentioned, that's something they do better than Hasbro.
Yes.
So you have characters like Metron. I've only seen Metron once with his weird floating chair. But then you see, I think they are making some efforts to release obscure characters.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think I kind of applaud Mattel for that. So I'm looking forward to more and more obscure characters. I think, how about, would you ever buy like a Bruce Banner character?
Bruce Banner, I may not buy, but if it was Bruce Wayne, I would definitely buy.
Okay.
Yeah. But really, I think Mattel should increase their distribution instead of selling figures through the Mattel subscription or something like that.
Yeah, the Big Bad Toys subscription.
Yeah.
But I think what they are trying to do is to make it a bit more. You see, it's kind of tricky because on one hand you release, you try to mass produce obscure characters, right? And I think what they experience is that they become pack warmers because they are not popular enough to be bought off the shelf. So I think in that sense it kind of justifies having a subscription, because if you are serious about collecting those obscure characters, then you get it through the subscription.
Yeah, I
so
see.
Yeah, I mean that's my thoughts,
Yeah,
because
that's probably what they were thinking.
Yeah, I think it's better than Hasbro selling you figures, but they're like in such limited quantity. So to me it's the equivalent of having a subscription, because you end up paying like ridiculous money as well. So I kind of don't blame Mattel. At least they are trying very hard. So that's just my thoughts. So maybe on to the next question. Are you currently reading any storylines?
Yeah, I'm reading a lot of the New 52,
Okay.
and of course the Avengers vs X-Men, which ended recently, and I really hate Cyclops as a character, to be honest.
But somehow it's an essential character to have, if you're collecting X-Men.
Yeah.
I mean, usually when you talk about X-Men, it's inevitable that
it's
you talk
either
about
Wolverine or Cyclops.
Correct. It's kind of like two characters you can't avoid. But ironically, I don't even own either one of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a funny thing.
I'm not a really big fan of the X-Men as well, but I really like Wolverine.
So which Wolverine look is your favorite? I think, I mean, in terms of like, there have been so many Wolverines released.
It's probably the X-Force Wolverine.
X-Force Wolverine.
Yeah, but
okay.
I don't own that figure yet because the 3-pack goes for a lot of money.
Oh, but they'll be releasing the figures individually in the future waves, except for Psylocke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. So you get to buy Wolverine and Archangel.
But really, I think that Psylocke is a lot better than the toy-based one.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That Psylocke was horrible. I never bothered to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like somebody was selling it for quite reasonable price, but because of the paint job and everything, I passed on it.
I think it doesn't really capture the likenesses and all, the face expression.
I think one thing about Toy Biz that they didn't do well was female characters.
Yeah, that's true.
If you think about it, I can't really think of a Toy Biz female figure that was decent. I mean, you look at Scarlet Witch, it's like one of the most horrible figures ever. You talk about the Spider Woman, also one of the most horrible figures ever. Yeah, so. But talking about body molds, I think. Maybe before we talk about body molds, you haven't mentioned DC. Are you which particular issues are you reading for the New 52?
Oh, I'm reading Justice League, definitely.
Justice League, okay.
And Batman.
Okay.
Yeah, I also read Batman and Robin and The Dark Knight as well, because I'm a big Batman fan. So.
Yeah, I think for myself, right, I would recommend you read the original 52.
The original 52.
Yeah, there was a series that they I think it's a series of 4 books that is called 52. So there's a significance. You know why it's called 52? Because it was one issue every week for 52 weeks.
Ah, okay.
So that's how the 52 thing came about. So the 4 volumes is actually one complete year of DC storylines. So what's so nice about the original 52 is that they tried to move away from the big 3, because you have Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman. So they kind of wrote the storyline where Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman disappeared for one whole year. So it gave them an opportunity to focus on other not so prominent characters. So why I like the original 52 was because they talked about people like Booster Gold. I'm not sure if you're aware, but actually Booster Gold is one of my favorite DC characters. Yeah.
I'm actually not aware of that.
Yeah, so now I share with you. Booster Gold is one of my favorite characters, and they actually featured the Question. The Question was one of the storylines. Then they had other people like Shazam versus Black Adam, and so on and so forth. So seriously, if you have the chance, right, read the original 52. It's very good, because they really try to expand on the. If you are not a DC person and you are reading 52, it gives you a better idea of what are the other very good characters available in the DC universe. Yeah.
Okay.
So on top of I told you about Kingdom Come and Red Sun, you should read the original 52. It's really very good. Yeah. So then talking about figures that I wish would be made, I think probably I'm not sure if this is going to be a spoiler alert, but there's actually a female question.
Really?
Yeah, so they should do a female question figure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what happens is that
Actually, I've always wondered why the question doesn't have a face.
oh, he's a detective, so it's just to hide his identity.
Oh, it's actually a mask.
It's actually a mask. So what happens is that he came across this special chemical, right? That it's kind of like a gas. He sprays it on his face and then it solidifies and becomes a mask.
Ah.
So it's very cool. He's not disfigured or anything. He's a real human, but he puts on this mask to hide his identity.
But does he have any superpower?
He's a kung fu master. Yeah, but he's an interesting guy. Seriously, if you have a chance, read the original 52. Very interesting guy. And yeah, so maybe I've been the one asking a lot of questions. Maybe any question you have that you want to, or maybe some topic that you want to share. Not really.
Not really. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Anyway, maybe just some further questions. So I mean, they made the announcement they're gonna have the new Hawkeye, new Black Panther. What are your thoughts? Again, characters that are being reproduced but with different look.
But for Hawkeye, I think it's a really good idea because the old Hawkeye is really hard to get nowadays. So at least we can have a Hawkeye in our collection. I mean, for myself, I only have one Hawkeye, so I feel that's
but hopefully it's not obscure, as in difficult to get.
Yeah, but I mean, Hasbro has been improving on their distribution, so
Yeah, even like they re-released the Red Black Deadpool. Nobody has seen it.
Yeah, unless you can get them as a set through Big Bad Toy Store or some stuff like that, or some local toy shop.
Yeah. No, but hopefully the Black Panther and the Hawkeye are not difficult to find figures.
Yeah, but the thing about Marvel Legends is they are sold at relatively higher price in our Toys R Us. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm quite looking forward to the Hawkeye and the Black Panther, even though I already have them. But I think they are more updated looks versus the Toy Biz one. So I think I recall, was it you who said you're gonna use the Hawkeye as a Dark Avengers Hawkeye, or was it somewhere else? I can't remember.
No, it was someone else, I think.
Okay. So I'm quite looking forward to getting that Hawkeye, and of course the Black Panther. Somehow I think the Black Panther, even though it is quite plain, but I think it's more accurate.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of the Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon series.
Yes. I watched that on YouTube. Yeah, so actually I'm quite looking forward to that. It's just that it's a pity, with the BAFs, they are getting smaller and smaller. Earlier we talked about BAFs like the Sentinel, which is like humongous. You talk about Fin Fang Foom, which is,
by the way, I feel the best Sentinel is still the BAF Sentinel.
The BAF one, right? Yeah. So that's why
I mean, the Marvel Universe one is just too kiddish, I think.
But it's comic book accurate, depending on what you are looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. It's kind of like, we have this discussion, you don't really like DC direct articulation, but having said that, they are comic book accurate.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like again, pros and cons.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, I kind of quite like the comic book accuracy. That's why I still do buy DC direct or collectibles stuff lah. Yeah. So I guess that's about it. We can call it a wrap unless you got anything to add.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to some people. Shout out to Which One, who is celebrating his birthday today, 21st October.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, man. Have a blast and don't drink too much.
Yeah, so I think that's about it.
Do you want to give shout out?
Nah, I think I'm fine. Pretty much I keep in contact with a lot of you guys, so nothing special here. It's just that I'm quite happy. Mindless and myself, we've been talking for ages about doing a joint episode, and I'm glad it finally happened.
Yeah, we actually planned to do a
Joint
joint
25th.
episode. Yeah, and that was on the Singapore Comic Convention, right?
Yeah, I
But-
think that was what, September or something.
Yeah, but the thing is, we actually went overseas. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, so we didn't have the time.
Yeah. Mindless went back to Indonesia. For myself, I went to New York.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, one thing after another. Yeah, so I'm glad we finally did one joint episode, and hopefully it won't be the last one.
No, it definitely won't, cause I think we will meet quite often. I mean, you know, now that we know that we used to live near each other.
Yeah, and then I think probably the next joint episode can be at my place.
Yeah, I would love to go to your place actually.
Yeah, now my DC stuff getting bigger again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can come and check it out. Yeah, so I think that's all from me and Mindless. So we are signing off.
Okay. Bye bye, guys.
Ciao.